landed on this video today because I've got something really, really exciting to share with you, and I'm super, super excited to dive in. So what I'm going to be talking you through today is one of my absolute pride and joys, and that is my beta version of the best travel journal in the world. So I'm in the process of redesigning the cover, so it's going to look a little bit different by the time it gets to you, but I'm going to walk you through exactly how to use this journal and how this can benefit anybody who loves to travel, is addicted to travel, and is also wanting to get really, really good at planning out their trips to make the most of it. So I'll be walking you through exactly how to use this journal very, very shortly. But first, I want to talk to you about how this journal actually came about. And, you know, as we all know, a couple of years ago, we kind of entered into the first phase of the pandemic, and unfortunately it meant that everything was grounded. So all of the travel addict community, all of us were devastated because of course there was this, you know, horrible pandemic happening, but at the same time it also was, you know, we were unable to travel at that time. So what I did to kind of relieve some of that pain around not being able to travel was created journals and started to write the things that I was really passionate about. So I was actually gifted this personalized journal, and I just loved it. I was like, I want to do like little travel notes and things in here. So I started to get really, really creative. Now, as you can see, first of all, I'm not an artist. I am far from an artist, but I just started to get really creative. So I started to kind of just draw out what I would love a travel journal to look like. So here I included a section that basically has all about the ultimate bucket list and how you can use your bucket list. I had like different pictures of like some of my favorite places that I've been to that I drew out. I also put a section here for travel resources and different websites and all that kind of stuff so that you can make the most of the trips. I then wrote down all of the countries of the world, every single country, with little tick boxes so that I could tick off all the different places I've been to, because I know it's really easy to lose count and kind of figure out, right, have I been, is that a country or is that a region, or, you know, so I put everything there so I could start to sort of tick everything off. And then I just did lots of different sort of travel doodles, which I'm going to kind of go on to that in a little bit more. I've done the ultimate packing list. I've done all different sorts of, you know, areas so that you can include all the different types of things that you want to make sure you've got in your suitcase. I put a section here for world celebrations because I know that a lot of travel addicts like to travel at a particular time of year to experience a particular event in a certain country. Travel memories, hotel wish list. And then what I did was a kind of repetitive section. So this is all about planning the trip. So I was actually supposed to go to Jamaica, and unfortunately it has been postponed like 3 times, and it's all now on hold until further notice. But what this did was it meant that I was able to start writing out the itinerary. So as you can see, I've got Jamaica here. I've put information like the departure, you know, all of the information at the airport, currency there, weather, accommodation that we'll be staying in. I've also done at the bottom here, it says must do's, must eats, must sees. So it's like a list of all those things that I want to make sure that I experience while I'm on the trip. So I've done that. And then I've also done a holiday calendar. So the holiday calendar basically is your itinerary. So day 1, I want to make sure that I chill by the pool. Day 2, I want to do a boat ride. Day 3, I want to go to this particular shopping mall. Or day 4, I want to do this. So that's basically how you kind of lay out your time just to make the most of the time that you're there. Then at the end, I've put top tips. And then on the next page, I've actually done budgets, because I think that sometimes when we go on holiday, you know, we can get a bit carried away. So I wanted to make sure there was an area so that we can kind of preempt what we were going to be spending. So I've put estimated and actual. So you've got flight, accommodation, other transport, food and drinks, activities, shopping, and then obviously the total amount. At the bottom, I've put activities. So if there's any sort of days out that you want to do, or excursions or anything like that, then you already know in advance how much they're going to probably be, the cost of the activity. So it just means you've got a whole budget section here to work towards. And then at the back here, it says trip summary, so that after the trip, you can kind of say, this is what I enjoyed, these were the highlights, and write everything down in there. So then I've recreated that for other trips. So obviously I've done that then for Turkey. And then I've done that then for Italy. So there's all sorts of, you know, different ways that you can use this same structure to be able to have the best experience. So you've got your must do's, must eats, must sees. You've got all those different things all kind of mixed up into one place. So this was I guess you could call this was the template. The reason that I was so scared to write in this, I can't even tell you, because it was something that I had drawn out. It took me so long to kind of try and do the calligraphy and, you know, write everything. And I was like, you know, that in the pandemic was great. I had much more time to be able to sit down and write all these different things out and everything, but actually drawing out the template each time was the thing that kept slowing me down. So I thought, right, well, if it was already there and the template was already done, then I could use this no problem. So I thought maybe I should just sit down one day and just draw all of the templates out for the trips. And I just thought, that probably is not my best use of time. So what I thought would be more effective was to design something online, or design something that was a digital version. But there is something about writing things down that is really important to me. I love to be able to empty my head on paper, write things down, particularly with a trip summary and kind of budgeting and all that kind of stuff. I like to be able to scribble things out and, you know, write things down. So that was kind of why I decided to create it into a book format, but something that other people could also benefit from as well. So you see in the template, now I'm going to show you the actual finished project. Like I said, the outside is going to look a little bit different by the time you get your hands on it, but the inside is going to be exactly the same. So I will show you how it works. So here's the first page. So as you can see, you've got a section here to put down all your details. So you've got name, Instagram handle, and then email address. So you can pop your details on here. You've then got a copy of the map that I did. So obviously the map that I did probably wasn't very accurate, but you can see that I've literally tried to keep it as similar as I can to that initial design that I did. I've also then put a content section so that you can easily find each area of the book. And then I've got your ultimate bucket list. So you can then write down your top 10 places that you want to visit and, you know, the top 10 destinations on your bucket list. I've then got a section here which is all about travel resources. So you've got websites, Instagram accounts, Facebook groups and pages. You've got must-have travel apps, so all of those good apps that you use while you're on your adventures. So I've put all of that in there as well so you can have a look at that. And obviously, as you can see, the design is all within that Travel Addicts colours and theme, and really, really colourful, full colour pages, which is amazing. So you've got more resources that you can enter here. Then I've put world celebrations. So like I said, if you want to go to certain places or certain countries at certain times of years, then you can kind of see some of the highlights of what's going on in those different destinations. I've then put all of the countries of the world, so you can tick these off as and when you go to each one of them. So you've actually got somewhere to keep track, because I know it can be really difficult. And then here, I've actually put a tally as well. So it means that rather than, you know, having to count each time and say, right, I've been to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 countries, you can actually just tally it here. So it's nice and easy for you to be able to keep track of that. I've then obviously included the ultimate packing list. So you've got all of that in there as well. Hand luggage, important stuff, and I've done a nice little outline there for you because they're things that you're pretty much going to need for every trip you go on to. And then I've done a hotel wish list because I know that, you know, we're in Instagram era, YouTube era, recommendation era. There might be lots of different websites, or there might be lots of different posts that you see and you think, oh, that hotel, it's stunning, I would love to stay there one day. And it could be on the other side of the world, but it just means that you can actually build a list here of all the hotels that you want to stay in and start to tick those off as you go and stay in them. Then this is something that I actually added in, and this is the language barrier symbols. So I know what it's like when you go abroad, and particularly if you go somewhere that just does not speak the same language as what you speak, or you might be in a particular place where you can't kind of communicate with anyone. I actually included this as something that you can easily use. So you can literally open up this book, and, you know, if there's someone who you're trying to get information from, somebody in the area or in the airport or, you know, wherever, you could just open this up and point to what you need. So if you need to go to the ATM, you can click there or point there. If you need Wi-Fi, you've got, you know, the symbol there. If you need the restrooms, hotels, bikes, trains, all sorts of different things. It just means that you're going to get a little bit further ahead if you are struggling with the language. Then I've included a section for travel doodles because I think that's really important, whether you're on the plane or whether you're on a bus or sitting in the hotel. It just means that you've got somewhere to kind of write down all those little doodles you know you might want to do on your trip. And then it goes on to the travel planning section. So as I said, much the same as it is in my original book. I've just designed it a little bit differently. You would write the destination here. You would then also do your date and departure time where you're going. You would do the airport code to the airport code so you know which airport you're going to be flying from and landing into. Local currency, predicted weather, accommodation. And then again, you've got the must-dos, must-eats and must-sees, so you can make sure that you fill those in before you go. And then you can tick those off as you do each thing. And then you've got your trip calendar. I've put it to 12 days just because I feel like when I looked on average, most people, when they did a little trip, they would be traveling anywhere from sort of 7 days or 5 days even, right up to sort of 10 days or 14 days. But I did find that 10 days was the most popular. So I put 12. And then obviously you've always got your notes section to be able to add any more information on, you know, for the other days and things like that. But it just means that you can then create your own little in-holiday itinerary, whether it might be that, you know, on day 3, you're going to go to this particular restaurant and you want to make sure that you've booked your reservations, whether it's day 7, you're going to do a snorkel boat tour, or, you know, whatever it is, you've just got that space to do that there. And then again, you've got your budget planning. So you've got all of the different things you want to be budgeting for, and including your activities and excursions at the bottom as well. So activity, company and cost. And then again, you can kind of release your inner travel writer, and then you can do a trip summary right at the end of your trip. So that's a really nice way to reflect on the experience that you've had. So then what I've also included in here as well is a section here that's messages from friendly strangers around the world. I think, particularly as a travel addict and someone that's part of this community, going abroad and experiencing, meeting different people, experiencing new cultures, staying in Airbnbs or kind of, you know, quirky little hotels and private accommodation, things like that, you can meet some incredible people, particularly even in hostels, right? So I wanted to create a section here that encourages you to keep hold of those connections. So if there's someone that you meet who runs a restaurant, or if there's someone you meet who, you know, is on the same plane as you or whatever it is, you can then get them to write down, you know, a little message on here, maybe leave their contact details or whatever it is, and then you just collect these lovely messages from friendly strangers from around the world. I've then also included a section at the back that's purely just notes, so not dedicated to anything other than whatever it is that you want to use it for. So if there's ideas that you have, places you want to go, whatever it is, then you've got space to kind of write down all those additional notes there. And then at the back, I've also left you a lovely personalized message from me in the travel addicts community. So if this book sounds like something that you feel like, you know what, I just need that is going to be my new paper travel buddy, I cannot stress enough the importance of being able to have your hands on this as soon as possible. I already know that this will benefit me on my own personal trips. So I think that if you are someone who is new to traveling, wanting to get into traveling, whether you've been traveling for years and years and years, this is going to be a really good way for you to document those experiences and kind of hold on to their memories in a different way to probably what you've done before. So if you've got any questions, feel free to reach out to the Travel Addicts community. Feel free to, you know, join the group and ask me any questions that you like. But as I said, this book probably has your name on it if you are a travel addict. So I look forward to seeing how you get on, and happy travels from me.